Barghani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat, Gino Lakuni Nani, Chief Noble Bandele El Amin back again. And I got my homeboy, my main man, King El Bay on the scene today. And like it's gonna be, it's gonna have some, we're gonna go through some stuff today. So what we're gonna talk about today is the treaties and Moor sovereignty. What does that mean to us in today's time? So, before we get into that, you can check out my books on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com. Check out. I got books. King Obey got books. I got books, so we'll put that in the message. We'll put that on the screen later or whatnot. But also check out Indigenous Services webs.com. One stop shop for all things. Okay. And what you where you want them to link at you, man?
They can hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up at Must or go to King El Bay. We'll be, they can even reach out to you through the indigenous services. We all under one umbrella. So we bridging the gap, and you know how we've been doing it for years. So we just evolving to this conglomerate where we understand what we need to be doing and how we need to handle business and how to show people what sovereignty really look like in 2022.
Mo, for sure. And you're right, brother. We've been at this for a long time.
Man, we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, but it's been a while that we did a video, so it's great.
Right.
It's great to have you doing the video. And for the brothers, sisters out there, we definitely gonna be doing more videos. It's gonna be a new group of people coming out. I got a couple brothers too that I'm gonna start bringing back out on the scene. So we're gonna have a lot more information from different perspectives about different like history, science, politics, you name it, African studies, more science, all that. So but not to get into all of that. Um, but like we said, today we're gonna be talking about the treaties, and you can also I got books on the treaties, so you guys can check out my books on the treaties, called Moorish Treaties. Okay, so we're gonna be discussing treaties and sovereignty today. All right, so I'm gonna tell you this: it's been a lot that we've gone and learned since the last time that we talked about treaties. The last time I talked about treaties on video, it's been a while. So from that time span, we've learned a lot since then, even a lot since the book I put out. So with that being said, man, where you want to start with the treaties, man? What is your where's your
We,
perspective now on treaties?
we
How do
gotta
you
we gotta understand that treaties are property, just like they're they are um, they are material, they are source material. So what a lot of people got to understand when we talk about treaties and those people who wrote the treaties for their successors, that's what they call a right of succession, for people to understand that we have an inherent right to that treaty because we were the people that was directly to benefit from those treaties, right? That is a contract between nations. So we got to understand what a treaty really is as it relates to core issues. If we're going to argue treaty and treaty benefits as it relates to trust law, as it relates to corporate law, as it relates to what they call the laws of succession or the law of wills. So you got to adopt treaties into your organization, that treaty, because you can sever yourself from a treaty.
okay? So we talking about adopting. How do you adopt the treaty?
Well, it's called under law. It's called the doctrine of incorporating. You incorporate the treaty into the language of your contracts, your trusts, and other things like that. Your documents. So now you can understand how to present it because we're dealing with what they call presentments and representments. Once something is presented, you represent it to what they call cognizance. When the court lets you out on your own cognizance, you can understand they have to deal with you according to the cognizance of the treaties.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, you know, you got to break that down a little bit.
Okay, so when we talk about cognizance as it relates to you recognize on your own free will, a treaty as it relates to law, like a constitution, their constitution is considered a will of the corporation or the will of the state.
Mm,
It's incorporated under that.
okay.
Saying because it's a willful act. You
I
see what
got you. Right.
it's not a
So,
private will, it's a will. So they incorporated that the treaties is supreme law and authority in their constitution.
right. Article, was it Article 6, Section 2?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Article 6, Section 2. So, and that's what we always saying, that it's the supremacy clause, right?
Right.
So, being that it's the highest law of the land, basically the treaties, once recognized, become the law that they have to abide by, right?
Right.
Right.
So another thing we got to understand, we can't misappropriate the treaty either. The treaty don't apply in all things.
Okay. So, give it an example of what it can be used for and what it can't be used for.
Okay, for example, United States is a corporation. They incorporated, right, and then they contracted with the private bankers. That has nothing to do with the treaties at all.
Okay.
That was a
Right.
private contract between two private entities. The treaty,
Right.
you can't just say the treaty, you got grounds to, that treaty opened up you to that contract. This is what we call original jurisdiction. When two parties enter into a contract, those are the original parties. So they have what they call original jurisdiction. So when you're dealing with original jurisdiction, it's dealing with the two specific main parties that enter into contract.
I got you. I got you. So, so these two private entities have a contract with each other that have nothing to do with a treaty.
Nope.
So, because of that, so then the treaty doesn't apply. Is that what you're saying?
You can't apply a treaty with two private parties. It's just like me, you got a contract together. Can't nobody say, hey man, I got a contract with Bandele with you, and then me and you got a total different contract. He
Right.
might have a contract with you on fixing houses. I might have a contract with you with selling cars. Two different contracts.
Right. Right.
So how he going to appropriate his contract in our business dealings? Got nothing to do with him. I didn't make a contract with him. Me and you are the original parties. You and him are original parties in another contract. That don't make me subject to his jurisdiction under his contract.
Okay. Okay. So I was thinking of something. It was okay, so like with us, we got you said the bankers, right? You got the
Right.
bankers in the United States got a contract. Now, somehow, do we not have a contract as well when you're a U.S. citizen? Do you not have a contract with like somehow about with the bank?
This is why it's a presumption of jurisdiction. You are presumed to be a U.S. citizen until you identify as otherwise. So you kill the presumption. They got you presumed to be a US citizen under that status, making you a debtor and part of a contract
Right.
that you were never really affiliated with.
Well, I mean, but now let's go to the cause I like y'all, I've been writing this book on the birth certificate and it's been taking me into these things. So it's saying basically the birth certificate declares your US status
Well,
because you're born
you
you're
can't.
born or naturalized, you're born within the United States or the state thereof. So that makes you a 14th Amendment citizen by being born here. And the birth certificate basically documents that you was born within the boundaries of the United States. I
Right.
mean, is that right?
Well, this is what they're trying to do, and they're trying to create a jurisdiction. But the issues become, because law is very specific, we got to deal in specific things. That's why you have to deal in what they call a bill of particulars. We got to deal with the particulars of the matter.
Right.
The child could never take an oath. He can't be naturalized by birth into a corporation as a benefactor without the mother getting the content of the contract that shows that she's a benefactor. I can't make you a beneficiary of my trust until certain paperwork is signed and acknowledged. There has to be an acknowledgement that you sign. There's particular documents that is associated with you being a benefactor of a trust, which never was performed.
Okay. Right. That's true. I mean, I mean,
They,
like,
they keep,
they don't tell you signed off on a trust.
exactly. So how could we be bound to something under your own cognizance to present to a court and a court to represent it to you? And they're going to say this is an implied contract.
What about Right, it was but like, okay, so you signed a birth certificate for the child, right? That's a maybe affidavit, contract, right?
Right?
I mean, so that doesn't. How do you get around that? How do you play?
That's
How
why
does that work?
that's why you got to do what they call an audit.
An audit?
An audit. You want to audit the organization to see and review all the filings to challenge everything that they specify, because law is very specific.
Okay. Okay.
So when they say, okay, these things